Hello, dear listener. My name is Momp, Lerumo Mogobe. Welcome to this 8th episode of Mogobe's Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Today we're going to talk about the role of contract and project manager in a site. I think this is a very important subject for those of us who are involved in some form of construction, but generally project management is something that an entrepreneur has to be familiar with. I come from a background where we put up buildings as developers, Mogobe Incorporated. We also rent out space as Simulimo Pty Ltd, and quite often we have different project managers working on different projects. So recently I went to Nairobi, Kenya. I was taken there by the Botswana government for a benchmarking exercise. And the reason I was taken there is that I'm a member of ICRC, which stands for Independent Complaints Review Committee. The ICRC, if I could just explain a little bit, has been set up in terms of the PPADB Act. It is a creature of statute, and it is an appellate body. By that I mean, if decisions have been made by the board of PPAD, they go up to ICRC, and I've been sitting as a member of ICRC since 2013 when I was appointed by Minister Matambo. So that is how I ended up going to this benchmarking exercise. It had to do with procurement issues, but I thought that you might be interested to know something about this particular subject. What does a project manager do, and what is the role of that project manager? So let's begin. 1. His first role is to define and allocate team roles. That means that he has to be the one who ensures that various members of the team are properly given work, they are properly empowered, and jobs are properly delineated according to the abilities of those different staff members. That's his primary job. The second job of a contract manager, if you like, project manager, is to keep team members motivated. What does that mean? This means that his job is to uplift the spirits within the site. Nothing can happen without motivation. People come to work sometimes carrying baggage from home, distracted by this and that. His job is to ensure that everybody is working in the same direction. It may involve having pep rallies and more or less functioning like a team coach in a sports situation. That's his number one job. The third nugget in terms of the job of a project manager is to ensure team members maintain communication. He decides how they're going to communicate. It could be that they need to do some form of radio communication, which is known as using Roger. That is just the way that is called in this part of the world. Or it might involve having a WhatsApp group in terms of which the group communicates. Any new developments are communicated within the group in that fashion. Number 4, he has to create a contract management plan. What is a contract management plan? This is just a system written out which shows the key milestones. He can spell it out. He can also indicate in that project management plan the key performance indicators. You can also highlight the critical path in terms of that project. Number 5, he has to establish a reporting system. This has to do with the chain of command. Who reports to who? Obviously, it wouldn't make sense to have a laborer going straight to the managing director when he's visiting the site. So that's one of his jobs. Number 6, the other role of the project manager is to identify and manage risk. This one is crucial. Risk management is at the heart of any construction site. We've had here in Gaborone, we've had 1 or 2 rare instances where there have been deaths and there have been other injuries in a situation of a construction site. So his job is to make sure that there's a SHE officer in place who has to see all these requirements are addressed. He has to ensure that the labor requirement in terms of registration of people properly in the site, in terms of allocating them and allocating the risk according to their abilities and complying with legislation. He has to make sure that is attended to and is properly in place. Number 7, managing and resolving disputes. This is a big one. In any construction site, there are bound to be disputes. Since we've been in this business for the last 20 years or so, I have not come across a single project where there wasn't a dispute, where there wasn't differences of opinion as to how to do things. And it is his job to make sure that those are managed. Disputes can arise between professionals. I'm talking about the senior professionals on site. They can also arise among the low-level employees. It's his job to make sure that these ones, all these ones are managed and prevented to prevent future occurrences thereof. And then number 8, he has to identify priorities. He has to know what is important and what isn't. Sometimes we confuse things that are urgent with things which are important. So I always say to my people that importance trumps urgency all the time. So it is his job to ensure that those priorities are properly identified. Number 9, he has to see to it that there are learning points, and these learning points are fed to the rest of the group. There are always learning points in a building site. There are always things that happen, unpredictable developments, unforeseen emergencies, and new discoveries in terms of how things ought to be done on site to carry out the project and to meet certain targets. Number 10, the 10th nugget of wisdom having to do with the job and requirements of a project manager is to ensure that there is a contract management administration system in place. This could be as mundane as ensuring that files are properly filed on site, ensuring that there's a proper system of administering paperwork on site, documentation is properly stored, and so on and so forth. That's his job. Number 11, this now is a bonus. Remember, I'm sharing with you the various key responsibilities and roles of a contract or project manager. Number 11, which is a bonus, his job is to manage the relationships of people, not just people on site, but the external role players as well. External role players includes even people such as suppliers. It includes people who may be responsible for subcontractors who may be coming in and out, and other external people. It might also involve third parties such as banks who have an interest, and they may from occasionally come to visit on site and see to it that things are run properly and that deadlines are being met in accordance with the agreement. That, in a nutshell, dear listener and dear viewer, is the 11 roles of a contract or project manager on site. It is very important that when you draft agreements and you employ such a person, you identify these key roles and ensure that there is strict adherence to these roles and full compliance thereof. Thank you very much. My name is Lerumo. If you believe that the content we are sharing with you, which I believe it is, valuable, please like what you're hearing, and more importantly, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for your attention.